I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of August 10th, 2016. Pretty heavy week for comics. Lots of awesome stuff to talk about. And we'll get things rolling with Scott Snyder's return to the Caped Crusader in All-Star Batman #1. There's a gnat in my face. That's the subtitle of this book, by the way. So All-Star Batman is basically Snyder's dream project. He gets to tell Batman stories that he hasn't told before, obviously, involving villains that he didn't really get to spend a lot of time with, and they are in continuity, but he's allowed to, basically do whatever he wants to do. So the first story is being billed as kind of a road trip story between Batman and Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. Harvey is being basically taken someplace, we don't know where, but it's a place that Bruce is aware of, that Harvey has asked him to take him, but everything is not clear, as it doesn't need to be in the first issue. But Two-Face has basically offered to pay a bunch of money to anyone that will take out Batman during this road trip, and if it doesn't happen, then Two-Face will release all of the secrets that he has on everybody in Gotham. So basically, it's Cannonball Run with bullets. Everybody's trying to take out Batman and maybe Two-Face in the process, but it had a lot of surprises for me. It's great to have Snyder filling Batman's words, if that makes sense. It felt familiar, it felt comfortable, it felt to me like it's the beginning of something great, and that is why it's my pick of the week. Art on this is by John Romita Jr. There's also a backup story also written by Scott Snyder with artwork by Declan Shalvey. So really good stuff. I'm not sure what the schedule is on this, whether it's once a month or less frequent, but...
So it's definitely not twice a month.
Yeah. Very, very excellent. I dug it.
All right, and my pick of the week this week is... The title is not on the cover. Oh, there we go. The Black Monday Murders, written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Tom Coker, or Coker, possibly. He's got two M's in Tom, too, so I don't know what's going on there. If you've read any of Jonathan Hickman's indie work, like Manhattan Projects or East of West, you know that he is not afraid of weird crap. And this is weird crap all over. The essential underlying premise is that the financial, banking, stock industry, or at least parts of it in America, are actually worshiping or serving some dark god or some demon or force that's giving them power and giving them the ability to thrive. And it's super cool. There's a lot of very intricate plotting going on. We see stuff during the big stock market crash in 29. We see more modern stuff. We actually read this about a month ago in a digital preview we got. And the digital preview was uncolored pages and didn't have the infographics. Now, if you know anything about Hickman's career, he actually started out as a layout artist, which is why his first 2 or 3 comics are really light on art and are more kind of structurally interesting. And that's totally true here. The infographics lay out really cool stuff with bloodlines and family history and who's had certain roles of power within the organization. But again, we read the previews without reading any of that, and it was still fun to read. The comic itself is good, but that stuff's just another layer of icing on the cake of awesome. The hopefully protagonist we get is a New York cop who has had some interesting choices in the past. He's been on leave because he killed a guy in cold blood that later turned out to be a serial killer. So he's using some sort of non-standard information source. He rolls the bones, doesn't he?
Yeah. Some
kind of whodun, or maybe it's the guy from Willow. I don't know.
It's not Billy Barty.
It's not Billy Barty? But really interesting, really intriguing story. Well written, great characterizations, a lot of moving parts. Advanced readership, but really great if you want to do the work. The Black Monday Murders.
Yes, to me it felt like a college-level textbook to some degree. I liked it. There were many times when I just didn't know what was going on. So if you are a grad student, if you majored in...
demonic economics.
Yes, demonic economics. That should be something. I think that's what Donald Trump majored in. All right, so next up for me was a very pleasant surprise, Superwoman #1, written and drawn by Phil Jimenez. And it's pretty clear from the cover, maybe, and from the advance images that we've had, that Superwoman in this story is Lois Lane. It is the New 52 Lois Lane. and it took a little bit to figure that out towards the beginning of the story. But this was just so fun. It's filled with familiar and new things. There may be more than one Superwoman. I will give you that little tidbit there. Lex Luthor is involved. Steel is involved. What appears to be a bizarro Superwoman makes an appearance, and it's just Jimenez knocked it out of the park on this. Really, I mean, I haven't read a lot of stuff that he's written. I think he had a pretty good run on Wonder Woman back in the day, doing story and art. But as I was reading this and looking at the incredible artwork, he's very much the successor to George Perez. He does a lot of... There are pages in here that have like 9 panels on it. He draws lots of different characters, and he's an artist that has become a writer. I mean, that splash page of Superwoman and the jets and flying is incredible. What am I looking at here?
That?
The art?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Apparently, Lex Luthor has muscular dystrophy or something.
He does.
That's not
he's one
possible.
He's one of Jerry's kids.
You can't pose like that.
I still really enjoyed it.
No, the story was great.
The artwork was great. The story was great. Don't skip this one. And as I was reading this, I thought, man, the Superman books haven't been this strong in a long time. I mean, all the Superman family books, Action, Superman, New Superman, Superwoman. Am I leaving anything out? I think that's it for now. But all of these DC Rebirth Superman family books have been excellent, and I'm also really looking forward to Supergirl when that shows up later this month. So Superwoman is a must-buy, in my opinion.
Now, how did that interact with Action?
There is a very brief...
Okay,
actually, I read Superwoman first, and when I got to that part, I stopped and I read Action to see if I was missing anything. But it doesn't matter what order you read these in. There is a very, very brief appearance of Superwoman in Action Comics, but either way is fine. And Action continues to be a big mystery about who this new Clark Kent is and what Lex Luthor's intentions are. And that came out this week as well. Really good stuff.
Next up for me this week, we've got the first issue of Red Hood and the Outlaws. And if you missed the Rebirth issue, you should go back and check it out because it was great. But essentially, Jason Todd is infiltrating the Black Masks gang in his guise as Red Hood. So, I mean, everybody knows that it's Red Hood. Does everybody know that Red Hood is the former partner of Batman?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, because we all know it, but I didn't know if they knew it. So he's as essentially himself with the mask on, infiltrating the gang, and we get to see a lot more of how Jason's style varies from Bruce's. We also get some more very cool flashback stuff about Jason's past. This is written by Scott Lobdell with art by Dexter Soy? Was it Dexter Soy?
That's usually, yeah.
Dexter Soy, yep. It's just pretty and cool, laid out, great structured. And by the end of the issue, we start to see some of the other characters who will be the Outlaws to go with the Red Hood, in case that cover was not telling you who they were.
Yes.
But yes, lots of fun. A very different tempoed Bat book that I'm really enjoying.
I actually missed this somehow, so I'll have to try it another day. Wonder Woman number 4 is out this week. This is part 2 of Wonder Woman Year 1, written by Greg Rucka and art by Nicola Scott. Just continued awesomeness. For the artwork alone, you should get this, but the writing is top-notch as well. Continuing to tell the updated origin, I guess, of Wonder Woman. And, Grant Morrison's Wonder Woman Year 1, Earth 1, Wonder Woman Earth 1 came out earlier this year. And while it was good, it was Grant Morrison, so there's a lot of controversial stuff in it. I liked it, but I like this better. I like that it's more straightforward. It's focused more on peace rather than conflict, although obviously there's going to be conflict in this. Just some really strong moments. I mean, there's some great scenes between Steve and Diana, some great scenes between Diana and her mother. It's really good stuff, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. Wonder Woman is awesome again.
I like it when things are awesome. Next up for me, we've got the Rebirth issue of Deathstroke. There we go. Written by Priest. That's Christopher Priest?
Christopher Priest.
Yeah, it just says Priest.
Written by a priest.
Yeah, written by a priest. Art by Carlo Pagulayan. And this sets up essentially where Deathstroke is at in the current continuity. Basically, we get a little bit of flashback stuff to set up his relationship with his family and how, like, I don't want to say hard, but I mean, he is an assassin for hire. As well as things going on in the current continuity. And the most interesting Deathstroke stories are the ones where his personal beliefs or his personal motivations come into conflict with the job that he's been hired to do. And that, of course, is obviously what we get here because you want to tell the most interesting story possible. So if you're a Deathstroke fan, there's a bunch of blood and a sword and a gun on this cover. So I don't know why you haven't bought it already.
Because it's not on sale yet. Oh, it will be.
Well, it is.
Finally, for me, we've got Civil War II, The Accused, #1. I think this is a one-shot.
I believe it is, yes.
And didn't really know what to expect out of this. Written by Marc Guggenheim, who I like, and artwork by Ramon Box and Gary Brown. And this is the behind-the-scenes trial of Clinton Barton for murdering Bruce Banner. And it's told from Matt Murdock's point of view. That's why Daredevil's on the cover. So Matt, of course, is hired to prosecute Clint, and we see how that came about in this. We didn't really know why when we opened issue number 4 or 3, whatever one it was. We're there in the courtroom. Things are already in motion. So this is a little bit of backstory getting us there, but also shows that the trial, there was a lot going on behind the scenes in the trial that we didn't see in the main Civil War book. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the first time that something familiar is mentioned which would tie this closely to the first Civil War. So I was really surprised that it was here and not in the core book, and whether or not it's going to show up in the core book with only 3 issues left to go. So this is essential, I would say. If you're reading Civil War II, you want to pick this up because there's a lot of meat in here. Really, really good stuff. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you are following Civil War stuff, this week we also got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. written by Marc Guggenheim, which is knee-deep in Civil War, and I actually really liked the way they came at it. Essentially, Coulson says that, there's no issue that only has 2 sides, and he kind of tries to find a middle ground, and being Coulson is awesome. But it also involves Daredevil, actually. So... last up for me this week is Amazing Spider-Man #16. I swear to God, the cover on the title says, Before, Dead No More. So not only do we have big ongoing events, we now have preludes to them, things that lead in and out. But that's okay because it was great. I've said it before, but Dan Slott writes a Spider-Man book like no other, and we get some great art by Giuseppe Camuncoli. The essential kickoff here at the end of the previous issue, we discovered that, John Jameson? Jonah's dad is John, right?
Jonah's son is John.
Okay, so who's Jonah's dad?
I think it's Jonah Sr. I could be wrong.
Well, but Jonah's name is John, too. So the J in J. Jonah is John.
It is John.
They're all John.
So Old Man Jameson?
Yes, Old Man Jameson, Aunt May's current husband, is dying of bad stuff. Hereditary bad things. And so Peter, with his immense wealth, is, sparing no expense. And J. Jonah Jameson is, obviously being J. Jonah Jameson and making everything worse. But that gets kicked off. Someone approaches Peter with a experimental treatment that may save him. And then that's...
Was it Khan?
It was not Khan.
Okay, sorry.
It was Ricardo Montalban. No. And that sends a trickle-down effect that's setting up... Dead No More is going to involve, obviously, the return of dead characters, or the apparent return of dead characters. Specifically in the ads, and in at least one previous issue, we saw Gwen Stacy, or what appeared to be Gwen Stacy, and the Jackal. So when you've got the Jackal, there's probably cloning shenanigans going on. But it was just really, really good. Everything that makes a Spider-Man story great is in here, and I love the way Slott puts pieces in play months or years in advance for them all to come together in a great story.
Excellent. Well, that does it for this week. If you have any questions for us, leave them in the comments below. We are getting questions over time, so if you don't have any questions, that's cool. Keep watching the videos. Give them a big thumbs up on the YouTube, and make sure to hit subscribe so you're kept up to date when we add new videos. And that should do it. You got anything else for any parting shots? No parting shots. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.